And just like that, it's Monday. Hi, everybody. I'm Russ Kane. This is the Midday Show. What is it? 10th of June. I'm almost better. So I know loads of you have had this kind of wretched COVID virus that knocked me sideways for 2 full weeks. Had to cancel every meeting, everything just went. And if you've still got it, I wish you better, because it's an absolute pig, this one. I know, crushing headaches, giddiness, absolutely no strength, horrible stomach cramps, all sorts of things, all variations of it. And the beauty of this stupid virus is that every day it mutates. So you think, oh yeah, my headache's gone. Oh, hang on, my stomach's killing me. No, my stomach's feeling better. No, I can't even walk around up the road. Anyway, it's buggered off. So hooray for that. That's what I say. Hope you had a nice weekend. Have you noticed, before I introduce my compadre, here's the thing. Have you noticed that the Stasi who promote climate change, it's like listening to the Ceausescos before they were put against the wall and shot. The weather's been fantastic. How many of you have still got the heating on? How many of you are still wearing sweaters? It's June. And they keep saying, no, it's the hottest May we've ever had since dinosaurs walked through Croydon Shopping Centre. It's not. It's been bloody awful. It's absolute rubbish. Talking of which, I'm not going to go there. You know him, and I'm looking on my monitors, and I can see he is not alone. A little surprise, it would appear. Beauty and the Beast, ladies and gentlemen. There they are.
Charming. Absolutely charming. Here with my beautiful friend and co-presenter.
Emily Spinner. Co-presenter where?
Here today.
Oh, I see. Okay. I must have missed that memo, but that's fine by me. That's absolutely not a problem. Always a pleasure to see Spinham Dex. Spinham, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, very well.
Okay, that is very nice. You're in a conservatory.
Was the reference to about me to a dinosaur or Croydon? Because they're both about as bad as each other.
It wasn't you. It was just general. I don't know how to break this to you. Not everything is about you. I know it's a shock. It's a shock.
I'll
tell you another shock. My book's being edited. It's going to take another 3 months of hard work. And I was going through it again. And of course, you are one of the characters in the book. And then I realized I was so obsessed with giving you a name check in the next novel. I've got you as 2 of the characters in the book. Idiot. So you were what were you? You were a chief of police and you were a something. I don't know. You were something else. But it was good. Right. What have we got? Some hello, Emily. Oh, hello, Emily, says Robert Buren.
Hello.
What do we got here? Dinosaurs still exist in Croydon. They yeah. Weirdly, I was walking my dog not that long ago, last week, staggering along, and a guy comes up and goes, Russ, and I went, yeah, stranger, I don't know who the hell it is. It was Graham Pack. What are the chances? Yeah, weird, huh? Anyway, that was nice. It was nice to meet.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, old chap.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm totally 100% getting there. Still a little bit lightheaded, but apart from that, a million times better than you. Really don't want this thing. It's bloody awful. Now, you contacted me over the weekend with, I hate to admit it, a very good idea about Michael Mosley. And I know you want to say,
hold on, I've just got to address that. Sod off.
Yeah, and you mean that in a kind. The interesting thing about Graham Pack, who's very lippy online here, and when you meet him, is a completely normal, absolutely charming bloke. You see, they get carried away. Now, I'll just do a little intro.
Old friends. That is what it is. He's one of my oldest, bestest friends.
Indeed.
Well, he is old. That is right.
No, I've known him for a long time.
You can't have known him that long. You're about 12. So
she's not 12.
But I always think she's about like 19 or something.
I was born broadcasting. What could I say?
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Coming in from America. It's a little bit scatty today, but there we go. I'm in the process of, no, he doesn't talk like that at all. I'm in the process of traveling to New York City and New Jersey. New Jersey. I had the pleasure of connecting with Elizabeth. You're brave. You're very brave. Elizabeth Green's a little full on. Oh, that is terrible. I thought Emily.
All right, behave yourself now.
You should see where she's got her hand.
Yay! No wonder
Stop
you're
it.
smiling.
Stop
right
it.
Now, we can't stop
Schoolboy
it.
humor,
We are
honestly,
schoolboys.
stop
We don't care. We are.
Well, I
we
know
are
that.
schoolboys. I just want, before we talk about Michael Mosley, which I know Neil wants to do, and I was reminded today of something which is really important to add after Neil has spoken. Many of you on Facebook know a chap called Dave Davis, a good friend of my two best buddies, Larry Viner and Lloyd Beanie, and a larger-than-life character, quite bonkers. And then yesterday, out of the blue, he died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not a personal friend. I've met him several times. He wasn't like a friend of mine. I hate getting on the grief wagon. I've got a real thing about that, Emily. I don't like it. You know, somebody dies from a band that you haven't bought their album for 60 years. Oh, it's a tragedy. No, it's not a tragedy. You know, plane crash is a tragedy. You know, cancer's a tragedy. Old age isn't. So I want to just say on behalf to the family of Dave Davis, our condolences, our commiserations. He was a very funny man. As I said, not a personal friend of mine, but a great friend to many people that I know very well. And also, last week we were shocked. This would probably mean not so much to you, Em, but probably more to Neil. It's someone I used to hang out with back in the day when I had a life. Rosemarie, the Irish singer. A huge character, hilarious company, funny as hell. And a lot of my actual friends had been with her like a week ago, met her, you know, just carrying on like you and I do, like life goes on. And she just died. Died last week. No one was expecting. I mean, you know, she was meeting up with people like Katie Keeley and all other people that we know and we hang with. And so to the family of Rosemarie, again, on behalf of the Midday Show, we send our condolences. What the hell? It's like the Somme out there. Jesus. It's interesting what you say. Would you care to read this out? Emily? No. She's not just going to sit there providing, you know, scenery.
Something.
Glamour and sparkle.
I was trying not to go there, you see. I was trying not to say that because it's so sexist, but go on.
No, it's a compliment. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Okay. Well, glamour.
Happy with that, you know.
Are you? Can I stop you? Are you seriously? Because I literally thought, no, I can't go there because
of course you can.
It's not Benny Hill, is it? You know, it's not a Benny Hill show.
No. I mean, you know, schoolboy humor probably not, but yeah, of course you can.
We can never stop the schoolboy.
Compliments.
So why is it? All
I
right,
tell Emily she's beautiful all the time, don't I?
He does actually.
Well, you are. You're an extremely attractive.
She's very lovely.
I don't even know if you can say that. Here's my thing, and I'm being absolutely serious. I don't even know if you can say that anymore. You know, I look and I say as a compliment with no subtext. Yes, you're a very attractive woman, and yet then other people would say, "Well, that's disgusting. How dare you objectify her?" And I'm going,
That's not objectifying.
It's not for you. Hey, but Longie, it's not for you and I to say. It's up for Emily.
No, but for me, that's silly. There's a very. This is going to get a bit schoolboy, but I need to quote it. There's a really big difference between telling a woman she looks beautiful or lovely in a dress and saying 4 nice tits.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe that wouldn't have been the right.
It's really. Right. You see, this is where I've gone wrong. This is where I've gone wrong. Thank God for this show.
I'm saying it's the former you should do, not the latter.
It's the context.
Oh, what is this? Hang on. Oh, we're going to come back to this. Oh, jeez. Come on, Chrissy. Oh, no.
Oh, Chrissy.
Oh, Chrissy, who's been with us for years, lives in Spain. I'm going to read this out. Actually, do you know what? I'd rather not read it out. Neil, could you read it out? I can't.
As if
wanna
I
read
haven't had enough trauma, I now have lip cancer. Ooh, got to go to Granada Hospital and have it cut out under general anaesthetic. Oh, Chrissy.
Bloody Nora. Chrissy, we send our very best to you. You have been such an absolute supporter of everything we've tried to do here for years, since the beginning in the original setup. Bless you. We wish you, Christ, this poor woman goes through more shit. Forgive me. Awful. Ugh. Okay, right. Getting back. Oh, man, I'm so sorry. Right.
Oh,
Emily, it's an important point.
What does the world come to if you can't give anybody a compliment? And yeah, I have moments where I need a bit of a boost. Everybody does. And actually, I take it as a boost. So thank you very much indeed. That's very kind of you to say that. That's what I would say.
So you wouldn't take offense?
Absolutely not. But then nobody says this nowadays. So people, I think this is partly why people's mental health's a bit, all over the place a lot of the time, because you can't say
it's gone too far.
Fantastic.
It's gone too far. It's gone too far the other way. I heard about someone, where you can't say anything without worrying someone's going to jump on you.
I wouldn't say to him.
I didn't.
No, that wasn't quite the bon mot we were searching for, Neil.
But I can say to you, you're looking fantastic today, and not be like, well, it means I've got an ulterior
I know
motive.
you'd be. I know.
I
find that really offensive and objectifying.
Yeah, exactly. When we're told to look awful.
You know what gets me? When you've got something like the Met Gala, let's say, or a Hollywood premiere, and all the actors, I'm not going to call them actors, actresses, right? Mm-hmm. They turn up wearing two bits of dental floss, and half an inch of lycra or something. They look like Christ knows what. And then it goes, how dare you stare at me? How dare you objectify? What the hell? You look like, if Anne Summers' window was dressed by a maniac, that's what you look like.
There's a line, isn't there? There's a line where you go, well, you're attention seeking at this point. You could have worn a ball down, but you decided to leave half of it at home. So what do you expect?
But what it is, hey, look at me. How dare you? That's the
headline stealing. That's what it's for.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what. Chrissy Richards is saying. Thank you, Scotty. It's worrying me a bit, but I have plenty of fat on my bum.
There's a little bit back in your lips for you when they take it out.
So basically, surgery. Chrissy, this is what we've known about you for some time. You will be talking out your ass.
It's lucky
you had to go there, didn't you?
It's lucky
I did have to go there
because you need Kim Kardashian to.
This is what I'm here. I'm here to maintain a level of,
your level of
all the best, Chrissy.
Yeah, Chrissy. I don't know what they do. I presume I'm guessing that they take probably tissue from somewhere else. And wow, I've never heard of lip cancer. What the heck is? Wowza!
It's plastic surgery, isn't it?
It will be. Well, I guess. Have you?
That's what you're saying about the fat on her bum. You can use some of that.
That's plastic surgery.
Yeah.
So I take it from one place, and I'm not quite sure what is the gluteus maximus, to use a proper name for it. But yeah, I'm not sure.
Oh, I loved him. He was that character in Gladiator. Anyway,
gluteus maximus. Yeah, with his mate biggest dickers.
From Monty. I knew we were going to go Monty Python. I knew it was you two. Unbelievable. But it has to be done. It
does have to be done, and you know that. Now.
But yes,
I'm going to lead into what Neil wants to talk about in a slightly circuitous way, but bear with for a second. There is a point. A few weeks ago, I was going to an event, and I get a text from my pal Larry that says, Simon Booker, bad information. Now, Simon Booker, a brilliant writer, former colleague at Capital Radio, a great raconteur, also a celebrant like myself, the most charming, elegant, witty, clever, articulate man. Great man. Simon goes on a hiking holiday, and he's fit, slim, fit, younger than I am. And it appears that in the sun on his hiking holiday, it appears he has a heart attack out of the blue and dies. And I thought, how rare is that? And everyone was very upset. an extremely nice man. I'd been to his home for dinner with David Briggs, who you will remember, Neil. David Briggs, of course.
That name, definitely.
Absolutely. And the late Joe Sanderlands, his David's wife, Josephine. Best boss I ever had. They both were. And I thought, how rare is that? How incredibly rare that a fit person goes off to a little break and dies. Boom. And not through a car crash or anything, but just through something totally unexpected. And I thought, well, that's very rare. And then I started to see these reports, as everybody did, that the great Michael Mosley had gone missing in an island in Greece. And I thought, no. But yes. So, Neil, you want to say a lot of stuff, so off you go, fella.
I just loved his work. This was his latest book, Just One Thing. And recently I was listening to his podcast, and I did a tribute to him on Radio Jackie this morning. And so many wonderful, millions of people. There's been an outpouring of love, which I suppose must be lovely for the family. But he really did make a difference to so many people. And I think his gift was taking leading edge topics, science, science of the body and mind and all that sort of thing, and making it understandable and doable as well, and interesting and fun. Brilliant. But he was adventurous and a pioneer. And I heard Jeremy Vine, fellow radio presenter, say that he had an adult mind, but with a childlike curiosity. And that's actually a brilliant mindset. That's a great mindset for anyone to be in. And I felt so sad yesterday when it was officially confirmed. I really felt down.
This is why partly you said come on today, because we both, everybody that I've come across loves Michael Mosley, but he mentioned it to me, and I actually rang you because I hadn't seen the news that he'd been found yesterday. I was at a family event, but I was heartbroken on Friday when I found that he'd been missing for 48 hours and thought, what on earth's going on? This is not looking good. So you were the one that told me he wasn't here anymore, and I was so sad. And I said to him, "How are you?" And the first thing he says, "I'm really sad." I said, "Well, that's not like you." On the end of the phone, what's happened? He went, "Have you seen about Michael Mosley?" I said, "Oh God, no, I haven't. What's happened?" So we went for a walk, didn't we? In the end,
we did go for a walk, and then for dinner.
And yes,
but it's just so sad. It's and you're right.
It's so utterly pointless. I was reminded of something because I was thinking, well, Michael Mosley, I admire him very much, and for all the reasons that you've just identified with such clarity. And a few years back, I went for a general checkup to the GP, who must have missed his lectures on bedside manner. I took the piss out of him because he was so rude. I told him that. I said, "Were you ill when they were giving out bedside manner advice?" So he didn't find that amusing either. And he said, "Oh, well, you're pre-diabetic." I said, "What?" I hadn't changed my diet, nothing. He said, "You're pre-diabetic." I was really annoyed, to be honest. And so I was reminded of this, and I'd completely forgotten that I followed Michael Mosley's advice. And within no time, really no time, everything was reversed. It's never come back.
Yeah,
and it was fine.
And he was part of bringing the knowledge to the world that things that were thought of as irreversible, like type 2 diabetes, actually is not. As I say, it's leading edge stuff. Because I followed his work for a while, and what he was doing some work and observing people with gastric bands, and he would notice that when that happened, their diabetes would clear up. And he worked out that what the problem was fat was storing essentially around the pancreas and not making it work properly. So if people lost the weight, the fat would melt away, normal service of the pancreas would resume, no more diabetes. And then he devised a way of doing that without the invasiveness of surgery, and did it by diet, and left the legacy of the Fast 800 and all the wonderful programs he's got. He did so much good work and solved common but big problems. I'm gutted. I really am gutted.
It is gutted because he was clearly an exceptional man. But the great thing was he had the common touch. And as you have said, and it really needs underlining, there's a lot of very clever people out there. There's also a lot of complete idiots out there, but there's a lot of very, very clever people out there, but they're not able to communicate their knowledge in a way that we can digest because we don't have their training, we don't have their education, we don't have their specialties. And Michael Mosley just had the way of taking very complicated issues, which they are, and as you've said, cutting edge issues, and communicate it in a way that we go, oh yeah, I get that. Okay, I can
So
do
simple.
that.
I remember at the beginning of the first lockdown, it was actually a day after we had locked down. And I think the first thing I saw on telly, someone had put the film Contagion on. And I don't know which brain box thought of that. I really don't. Yeah. I really honestly don't. If you don't know what that is, it's a film a bit like Outbreak with Dustin Hoffman. It's a very good film, but probably not to show day 2 into a worldwide pandemic. But then I was watching telly and we were all a bit scared. And Michael Mosley came on, just talking to us through the TV, and I felt this sense of relief. I literally felt this sense of relief because here's someone that I trust. Here's someone that I relate to, the common trust. And I actually felt better about things just from watching him on telly. I don't even think he was talking about the pandemic particularly. It was just watching him. And that was the absolute magic that he had. And thoughts to his family. I mean, I can't imagine what they're going through.
No, I mean, and I hate to say this, but how absolutely pointless. How pointless. And loads of thoughts went through my mind. And please don't take offense at what Neil's going to read all your points in a minute. Just give us a sec. Please don't take offense at what I'm going to say. We all do really stupid things without thinking sometimes. You know, some of the things I've done are so stupid, but they were long term. And some of the things that you do on an impulse, and you look back, you think, I'm an idiot. What the hell was I? What was I doing? Michael Mosley, brain like a planet, goes out, as in the Noel Coward song. It's like 1 o'clock or 1:30. The sun's at its zenith. The heat is crazy. I don't think he had water.
Or a phone.
Or a phone. He went, I think, and if I've got this wrong, I apologize. I know it's all very raw. I think he was walking back. He'd forgotten his phone. There's so much to unpack here.
I think he was trying to shade himself from the sun. They have found an umbrella nearby.
Yeah.
But I think I have a feeling, again, I may have the details wrong. They're obviously releasing what they can. I believe it was a black umbrella, which in all honesty here is fine because, you know, we don't have that sun. But if you're going to be under a black umbrella, it's going to get hotter under there, isn't it?
It's and we do dumb things.
But he did try and take some precautions in the baking heat. That's the thing. Your brain was working. Yes, take this with me. But how many of us have gone out without water on a hot day and been dehydrated? You know, it happens so easily.
Well, I genuinely don't do stuff like because I just don't.
Well, at some point in your life, Russ, at some point there must have been a point where you thought, you know what, I should have brought some water at this point. It happens.
Yeah, but I'm not going. But I'm not being sarcastic. I don't go trekking. I don't go hiking. You know, if I'm walking down the street,
I wasn't saying
I
being
can walk
sarcastic.
into a coffee shop and buy some. You know, I'm not going to fall. You know, well, I will fall over because I'm not so stable. But yeah, well, the point I was trying to make is one: what a pointless way to go.
I agree.
Pointless. Just because he had so much more to give, so much more to teach us.
I know, and I was looking forward to what was coming next.
The only comfort I can take is that instead of him having a long-term illness, which he, as a scientist, would, I'm sure, have carried on broadcasting about until the bitter end.
Of course he would.
Yeah.
My mum said to me yesterday, look, I was really upset. And doing as mums can to try and see light in the darkness. She said, look, just think about it. He could well have gone dizzy and been sitting on that beach looking out to sea. And in some ways, it's a kind way to go. And not knowing what was going on.
Yes, but not kind to his family.
Not kind to his family, but I'm saying for him as an individual.
For him, I mean, I hope it was quick. I mean, it's awful for the family. I mean, when my dad died, it was very, very quick. So for my dad, it was a great death for him, a terrible loss for us. But...
I mean, for a human being like Michael Mosley to have something like dementia, can you imagine?
I mean, horrific. That's the thing. Horrific.
When I separate.
So that's what I'm saying. From his perspective, from taking some comfort from the fact that actually, yes, we are all massively. The world is emptier place without him, no doubt.
For sure.
It is.
But at least he didn't suffer.
Yeah, I
In
mean,
that
for my
sort of
dad, I separated death and loss. I mean, he, as far as deaths go, he won the jackpot. You know, he had a stroke at 10 o'clock and was dead by 4, and was unconscious for most of it. That's such a painless, quick way to go.
Wow. Out of the blue. Forgive me, Neil. Am I allowed to ask?
Out of the blue.
Tell me, out of the blue.
He'd been a bit mentally unwell for about the last month. Things were getting on top of him, and he was just getting really, really stressed about things in a way that he never had before. Maybe that he was behaving in slightly neurotic ways, which he hadn't before. But yeah, pretty much out the blue. Pretty much out the blue, to be honest with you. Yeah,
horrible.
Which was a horrible, shocking loss. But when I thought about it, if that's I'd rather have that hand of cards because he didn't suffer.
That's where I'm sort of coming at from the Michael Mosley angle.
There
Awful
was
for us, awful for his family, awful for the world, but
hopefully not for him.
Yeah, I know. Right, let's read this from your pal Liz.
Do you want to read this?
I can read this,
and then we can maybe do look at some bits from his book because it's
okay. That would be a good idea. Okay,
shall we do that? Do that as a tribute.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So this is from Liz Saul. Knowing how much both Neil and I benefited from Michael Mosley's work over the years, whether it was just one thing, the very book, or cutting down carbs or intermittent fasting, I messaged him last Thursday when the news first broke he was missing. We couldn't believe it then. Now, Liz does work for the BBC, I should say, so that's how she came across it. Having had to read the news on the radio this weekend, again for the BBC, and at 10 a.m. about the discovery of the body, I rang Neil, knowing he would be as upset as me. Thankfully, we were able to console each other. His legacy will live on because people thankfully we're able to because people like us are great advocates for his simple and effective way of highlighting complicated issues, which is very true.
Yeah.
I have to agree on all of those points.
Should we do some bits from his book?
Sure.
Because the whole premise of this is you only need to do just one thing, or certainly just one thing
Can
at a
I
time.
just say the quote from the Times on the back, which we know, we trust the Times and their book reviews. We all need a dose of Michael Mosley's marvellous medicine.
Yeah.
It's true. We do.
That's it. That's it.
And he said at the back, there is a wealth of things. If you're going to do just one thing to transform your health, what would it be? Eat beetroot, take a nap, cold shower. Anyone?
Did that this morning.
Not my favourite, but I have done. There is a wealth of things to choose from, says Michael. And obviously, I don't want you to try them all at once. Yeah, take heed on that one. Don't try them all at once.
No,
don't eat beetroot in the shower. That would not be
well,
good.
exactly. And take a nap at the same time.
You think you were bleeding to death. Anyway,
yeah, not a plan. But I hope you will find yourself tempted to try a few and will be encouraged by the benefits they bring.
So let's start here. One is breath. And I've read quite a bit about breath work, and it's amazing what you can do with it. And on his latest podcast, which is on the BBC iPlayer, and I was listening to just part one, and he's talking about the vagal nerve. Have you heard that term?
No.
We've talked about it.
And how it works. And it's a nerve.
With a V or an F?
Well, vagus nerve. It's
vagus or vagal.
Brain and tummy.
It's a very long nerve, and it connects many parts of the body. But the way he explained it on this podcast, again, in that brilliant Michael Mosley way, it made complete sense. And it's basically getting us into the parasympathetic, if you like, the good one, nervous system, rather than the fight or flight sympathetic. And he talks about it a little here with the breathing. Something simple, quick, and life-changing. It can transform your mood and your health and bring a quiet joy to your day. Breathing. Who knew? By changing how quickly and deeply you breathe, you can achieve amazing things. You can slow your heart rate, lower your blood pressure, reduce stress levels, and combat anxiety. There's also evidence that changing the way you breathe can combat pain, reduce pain as well. When we're busy or stressed, we tend to hold our breath. You can tell people like that because they breathe from the shoulders like that. But if you go to any of the breath classes, it'll be breathing from the diaphragm, won't it? You can calm things down by slowing your breathing, and you'll be surprised how quickly you feel better. But it's hard to get into the habit of doing it if you feel stressed. So I just try, Michael Mosley, to remember to take slow breaths for a count of 4. Sorry, in for a count of 4 and out for a count of 6 whenever I pause or change activity. And
that's just try and do that.
I do that. I do that because sometimes I get extremely stressed. You wouldn't think so, but I do. And so breathing, I didn't realize that was one of his.
There's 2 lovely quotes.
I thought it was one of Neil's.
No. So this, and the lovely thing is, he adds expert advice in from boffins across the world, and you don't feel you're being intimidated by them. So we've got slow breathing is an incredibly potent way You're giving yourself a mini tranquilizer, says Ian Robertson, who is the Emeritus Professor of Psychology at Trinity College Dublin, and one of the leading experts in the science of well-being. And he says, and yet a lot of the time we forget to do it. And I think the other thing he said that I think is very, very interesting is that he says, again, Professor Robertson, calls slow, deep breathing the most precise pharmaceutical you could ever give yourself, with the added bonus that it is side effect free. You can do it in a meeting and no one needs to know. It works like a mini reset button for your brain.
Absolutely. And it works on the noradrenaline system. Now, we hear a lot about getting, again, sympathetic nervous system, getting stressed. People say, oh, I really felt the adrenaline kick in. We've all heard that. What you hardly ever hear people say, because everything's got its opposite, is the noradrenaline system, which is the parasympathetic system. And that is critical for how well we're in a task, how much we feel in control of what we're doing. It can help us get back to sleep. And even according to recent studies, reduce the impact of chronic pain. And there's some case studies here as well. And then a little grey box telling you, how to do the exercise. Would you?
Breathing techniques. I think we should do a few of these from that.
Let me just jump in for a sec. Liz is. I'm reading the, and if I'm misinterpreting, I apologise, but I don't think I am. I'm reading between the lines the subtextual nature of Liz Saul's messages, and I think that the grief for her mum is kicking back in. And I wrote...
It brought up a few bits for me yesterday as well. I mean, I always say less intense, less regular, less long, but I know it's not for me to say in public. But I
get that. I get that. I just want to say this, and this is not about Liz, it's a general thing about grief. I wrote a chapter, I was asked to write a chapter in a book about grief, and I entitled it, There's No Statute of Limitations on Grief. And I've talked about it as well at seminars and stuff like that. You've got to be kind to yourself.
Self-kindness and self-acceptance is absolutely key in anything.
It comes out of nowhere. Don't beat yourself up. That you can't say, well, this happened a long time ago, I should be feeling better by now. Says who? Who sent that memo? Nobody. Time is a great healer. No, it's not. Time teaches you to cope. That's what time does. Time teaches you coping mechanisms. It's not a great healer. That's just word salad. Always has been.
Okay. I mean, what I find with grief, you're right, and it does catch you, and it can be when you least expect it. I'm just going to run out the limit of banners I can do. Hold on. There we go. What I do find with things like grief or with negative emotions is less intense, less regular, less long. So, for example, when I heard the news about Michael Mosley, yes, it did bring up a little bit for me, and I felt sad for the afternoon. But I haven't felt that way for a long time. So it's less regular. It didn't last very long, and it was a lot less intense. My fear was that I would get stuck in the dark and I'd never, ever be able to find the light again, and that was the fear. But you do.
Well, that is, of course, Neil, staring into the abyss.
Yeah.
And that is, without doubt, the most terrifying thing. It happened to me once only. I'm not going into the full details.
Sure.
And I stared into that abyss, and I thought, if I fall into that now, I will never come out of it. That's how all-encompassingly terrifying it was. It was horrific. And it only happened to me once, many years ago. And thank God, a hell of a lot better. But boy, you don't ever want to do it.
So I was determined to, yes, I knew grief was a necessary thing and would happen, but I was determined not to get stuck in it. I didn't want to get stuck in this kind of loop when I didn't need to, if you know what I mean. Because we need to be able to find the joy as well, which hasn't gone anywhere, because joy comes from within ourselves, if you know what I mean. It can be blocked, and I was determined that it wasn't going to be blocked forever. Well, I'm certainly not saying, forget people, cast them away, not at all. But I mean, I couldn't bring my mum and dad back if I wanted to. So if I don't have to grieve about it, I might as well not if I can avoid it.
Oh, that's a.
Because if I spend time thinking about it, I'm going to feel really sad.
Of course,
And it's gonna,
of course, you are.
and-
There's nothing. Yeah, I understand. You see,
So
this
I
is the
choose
thing.
as much
This
as
is
I
the thing
can
between
not to
logic.
think about it in those terms. You know, I've done a lot of grieving, and
Yeah.
it's not easy. And I'm at the place where I feel I want to move on.
Of
And
course.
if something happened to me, I would want Ashley, who gets married on Friday, by the way.
Yes, she does.
To move on and have her life and not spend the rest of her life grieving me. You
Can
know?
I just say that Ashley is Neil's beautiful daughter. if anyone
Yeah,
doesn't
she's
know.
great, and a physicist. She's like a brain like a planet.
She
does.
She has.
She is.
indeed.
She's a proper grown
Yes,
up.
gets her brains and smoldering
Can I-
good looks from me.
Can I segue into a really lovely Michael Mosley thing? Because Ashley and I are both really into our dance, and this is one of his amazing Just One things.
Into
to do,
what?
which
You're
will
into
make
what?
you feel happy, particularly if you're feeling a bit down in the dumps. Which we will get through these times, and I know Liz is having a tough time at the moment. But dance, she's also an advocate of dancing. We have dance. around this
Dance.
room. Yes.
Dance.
So this is in the evening. He suggests. There's a lovely thing about this
Okay.
book is it's morning,
Hit me
noon,
with
and
it.
night.
Hit me with it. Come on.
Spend 5 to 10 minutes dancing to music each day. Now, he says here, he's not a natural mover himself. He even says in lovely letters, just right here on this very page, Russ has got his head in his hands. Apparently, we are all, even me, his witty sense of humor that we know and love, natural dancers. Humans are the only species with a specific connection between the ear and leg.
Now, did you know that?
Which means
No.
we are hardwired to tune into the rhythms of our movements. And he says, I really think dancing is one of the best ways to keep your body and mind fit and healthy. It relieves stress, it's a workout, and fundamentally, it feels great.
Actually, I did know there was an ear-leg connection because I once dated a yoga teacher that could put her ankle behind her ear.
And yeah.
Now, this is interesting.
Wanted to marry
I
her.
love the way.
So,
I love the way Emily just completely blanked.
I've got a book here. We're talking about Michael Mosley and his brilliant
you
genius.
carry on. You carry on.
Here we go. So he interviewed Dr. Julia Christensen from the Max Planck Institute in Germany,
Right.
who is a former dancer,
Okay.
and retrained as a neuroscientist, as one does.
Of course.
And she told
Hands
him
people.
that competitive dancers are often very stressed when performing, while actually the key to getting the benefits from dancing is to be relaxed. So just enjoy yourself and dance as if no one else is
He's
watching,
yeah.
which they
Yeah.
probably aren't. Now, this is the interesting part, I think, is that he says some of Dr. Christensen's most fascinating research is looking into the science of interoception, the awareness of bodily feelings. This is interesting. By putting tiny electrodes on their fingers, we were able to show that people who dance are better able, this is really interesting,
Yep.
to recognize emotions in other people. Their bodies actually react differently to emotional expressions. So there you go. Emotional intelligence, you can up it by dancing. Like a
Who knew?
around your house, well, not in the shower,
Who
but you
knew?
know.
But I think Emily's picked up on something really important here. If you're doing it to be competitive, if you're doing it to win, if you're doing it to get to a goal, it won't work as well. If you do it just because you're being relaxed and playful, doing it for the enjoyment of it, a bit like sex, really. And I'm not trying to be funny. No, I'm not trying to be funny.
That isn't in the book, but you know.
Actually, no, I'm not trying to be funny. In fact, he mentions that in the book. He says that's one thing he hadn't looked into, and he probably would one day.
Please tell me when this is over. Emily, tell me when this is over.
In fairness, he did actually say on his wonderful, one of his series, not the latest one, but I think the first series, he sat down with a couple and said, look, you know, eating beetroot is going to be better for you than Viagra. And there was this awkward silence between this lovely young couple. And he did talk about everything. Nothing was off limits. It was brilliant.
Beetroot. There's very few things I don't eat, and beetroot is at the top of the list. I hate.
Let's eat some beetroot here.
No, thank you very much.
His dark chocolate and beetroot apparently have the same sort of benefit.
Go on, you found a couple more.
I found
haven't
the dark chocolate's in there. So,
Well, dark
so yeah,
chocolate's all right. Beetroot.
to say on the dancing thing, because everybody gets a little bit awkward if they're not an actual mover, it does to say the best thing to do is to join a weekly class that will make you more likely to stick to it. Or, and this is the other bit, you could sign up for some online classes to get you started at home.
God, I
There's
don't want
plenty to be gained from a bit of shimmying around the kitchen or strutting your stuff in the bedroom, which is why he then went on to.
No, I didn't. I wasn't being facetious. I'm serious. You know, people, sex is good for
You can
you,
do it by
but not if
yourself
you're trying to be
and
competitive about
dance
it.
about,
That's all I'm saying.
have a boogie in the car, you know, whatever you feel like doing.
Exactly.
Dance with
That's
nobody's
probably
watching.
not a good thing if you're driving, you know, down the North
I mean,
Circular
bop your head
Road.
around, you know.
Me and my daughter used to do it in driving, and we used to call it draving.
Yeah, exactly. You're driving, obviously.
Yeah,
Put your feet on
half
the pedal.
driving, half raving. But
Right, this one. Which
Sounds safe.
doctors tell you to eat chocolate?
Eat chocolate. All right, you got my attention.
There you go. There you go.
All right,
So
I'm
he
listening
says
now.
dark chocolate is ideal. How to do it? Replace sweet treats with a couple of squares of dark chocolate. He says, and again, personal from him. I have a seriously sweet tooth, and the only way I can avoid unrestrained eating is to make sure there are no treats and certainly no milk chocolate in the house. But I often allow myself a late afternoon or post-dinner time treat of a couple of small squares of dark chocolate. It helps to satisfy my cravings for something sweet, while at the same time offering potential health benefits such as lowering my blood pressure, who knew, and even boosting my brain. And it's because of these very clever compounds called flavonols.
Flavanols.
They also They also occur in apples. They happen to be in apples as well. But yeah, I think the chocolate vote is probably going to be over the apples for most people.
The apples. I don't know. You know, if you taste something that's homegrown, it sounds so boring, but it's so true. We're so used. We go to little Aldi, Sainsbury's, wherever the hell it is, and we buy the stuff, and you eat it, and the taste is, if it has any taste, is minimal, and particularly tomatoes. And then somebody will grow some tomatoes every now and then and say, "Oh, try these," and it's like tasting a tomato for the first time. So
it is.
Taste has just been trashed for us.
There's a farm shop where I go in Hayling Island and I buy jacket potatoes from there. You have them on for lunch later. And I get orders for these because they're so nice. They are just so delicious.
Great.
And it's because it's been grown properly.
I'll read that one out if you like.
Yes, it's also all right to smoke during sex, Graham, as long as you don't mind the cold ashtray on your ass.
During sex. Well, you know.
Scott Lane says us.
He deserved that. I'm sorry, Emily. He deserved that.
Dark chocolate is supposed to be very good for high blood pressure and increased libido, which is probably why we've gone down that road. Unfortunately, I've eaten so much, I'm too heavy to close to do it.
We'll try the lounge. Scott,
can I give you the science behind this?
Yeah, let's have the science.
And then we'll go the fun bit
really?
as well. So,
I'm just Emily. I'm just happy. Emily, here's the science behind it. Go buy some dark chocolate, knock yourself out, enjoy it.
She wants to tell you, Russ. She wants
can
to tell
improve
you.
your blood pressure, your blood flow, your insulin, your cholesterol levels. This is from a professor over in Queen's University, Professor Cassidy. And it also can help your good bacteria in your gut, which we know is also very, very important.
And they say all health begins in the gut, all health.
Yeah.
So having a healthy gut microbiome, as it's called, which is the diverse bacteria in the gut, is critical for our health.
Yeah. When you eat dark chocolate, it seems the flavonols reach all the way to the large intestine before being metabolized. Their gut bacteria munch them up and convert them into special compounds, which then travel to the heart and brain.
Now, Emily, here's my question. I think I misheard because what you said, I don't like to correct you in public, but you said just 2 squares of dark chocolate. What you meant was 2 bars of dark chocolate.
Two squares. And actually, he says the darker the better.
It's not worth opening the packet for 2 squares.
No.
Everybody agrees. I know they agree with me. I know they agree. What have we got? Fat Scott. Hang on. This is the most surreal show I've ever seen. Emily and Neil, the old married couple, are Russ completely befuddled by the whole thing.
We are not an old married couple. I'm 19 years older than Emily, and we are good friends. We're not
perfect. You're like Rupert Murdoch. You're the Rupert Murdoch of southeast London.
Asa Don Brown.
Southwest,
if you don't mind.
Don't hang around those
commoners in southeast.
Shocker.
On a basic level, dance and any exercise causes endorphins, which actually stands for endogenous morphine. That's why it's a painkiller. Endo, inner, and endogenous morphine is morphine. Endorphins to be released. It's naturally occurring feel-good chemical in our brain. It increases feelings of pleasure, joy, overall happiness, and decreases pain, stress, and anxiety. And I would add to that, Dr. Asa, well-being as well. But yes, absolutely right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, that is right.
So yeah, is chocolate better than sex? Who knows? Age-old question. Could be. But both together.
Say that again slowly.
I said, is chocolate better than sex? Who knows?
Yeah, I heard it first time.
As Graham said, you could both together. It's a whole new thing.
Still hooker.
It's not a new thing, is it?
Mm. Well, I can buy them both relatively cheaply down my local high street.
Southwest London? Absolutely not. Southeast London.
You're not going to the right places, sweetheart. You're too posh. Right, come on, what else you got?
Unsurprisingly, I wouldn't know the first thing about any of that, but there we go.
Of course you would.
Right, moving to the darker the better is very key on the chocolate thing. No white chocolate, no milk chocolate.
Not too
everybody.
much sugar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You need about 60% cocoa solids to get these flavonols. So there. Yeah.
So what?
35
Because
milligrams.
if you hang on a minute. Jeez. If you get the dark chocolate,
yes,
and it's like 90%, it tastes disgusting.
I said, did you want the science? You said no. I will.
I'm kind of getting bored now. So anyway, so the dark chocolate, like 70% is good, 80%.
He says, Professor Cassidy, who we
Professor
trust,
Cassidy
at Queen's University in Belfast,
the Jive Aces,
expert in the field of chocolate and all of that jazz, says recommends picking a dark chocolate with around 50% cocoa solids. This is a compromise between the very high cocoa solids, which can be very bitter.
Yes, bitter.
Low cocoa solids, which might be calorific and too tempting to indulge in. Hence your how many bars of chocolate can I eat? 20 grams of dark chocolate, 35 milligrams of flavanols, 20 grams of milk chocolate, 14, half of it, pretty much, and 20 grams of white chocolate, absolutely none. So no white chocolate. You can't get away with saying I'm having my white chocolate. It's going to make me,
hang on,
increase my sex drive. And my
on behalf of the Milky Bar Kid, right? On behalf of the Milky Bar Kid, you're just dissing his entire legacy. You are dissing the Milky Bar Kid's legacy.
The book, not me. The book, the scientist, the professor.
No, you're endorsing the dissing of the Milky Bar Kid, and I will not have that.
Right.
Yes,
I'm with Chris.
Hang on, shush. I'm with Chrissy on this. At least 90% dark is. Yes, it's gas.
I'll tell you what you can do with dark chocolate, and it makes a delicious. If you like chili con carne, extra paprika, extra cumin, extra chilies or chili pepper, and extra coriander, and then put in some really dark chocolate, which would be too bitter to eat by itself, but you can put it in a chili and it makes it absolutely delicious.
You're right.
I once bought some chocolate buttons that were literally the darkest you could possibly get, and I tasted one that was really bitter, and you're right, unpleasant, but in a chili.
There is
I don't know what happens. It kind of transmorphs into. It's great.
Look up mole vegetables.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were
South American. Mole poblano. My mum makes this. I've probably pronounced it wrong, but hey, go with it. South American. And it's turkey in chili and chocolate. You can do it with vegetables too. And you'll see mole vegetables in some very swanky restaurants in London. They've put cocoa in them. And it works as a spice. When it's bitter enough, it works as a spice. It doesn't make it spicy, but it has that lovely...
It just does something to it. And it doesn't...
You don't know it's chocolate, but you know it's got a really...
Somebody's on fire today.
Huh?
I'm not reading this out.
Oh, God.
Scotty, shame on you. Go and stand in the corner.
All right. Well, there we go.
You wouldn't believe that he is... I think he is vying for the Graham Pack terrible gags crown.
Well, Graham has won it the last 10 years.
I'm going to finish this dark chocolate thing because we said about South America. It's actually true. This is where the research came from. They first made the connection between cocoa and health when population studies involving indigenous people in Panama showed that their blood pressure did not increase with age as it does in many other parts of the world. What do they have? A lot of very dark cocoa.
It got a canal as well.
They do.
Maybe that's it.
They have a lot of
canal. You need a canal to be invaded by Americans, and that will keep your blood pressure down. I think that's it. I think I've solved it.
I think your link's a little tenuous, Russ. But
it is a little tenuous, but so is life. So is
right.
life.
The other one. Here we go.
I tell you what worries me about the passing of Michael Mosley.
Go on.
Yes.
In all seriousness, it is very rare that somebody like him comes along.
Yes,
we've both been in the media. We've both been in the. I don't know why you're putting up with it, Em. I really don't. Stop.
I'm off the camera in a minute. Don't you worry.
Stop. So it is very rare somebody like him comes along because we've both been in the media a long time in one form or another, and we know that so many of these so-called experts are absolute charlatans. They are charlatans, and I think we've had occasionally they slip through the net. They come on the show. They've been recommended by a PR company, and you start to listen to them. You think, I wouldn't ask you for the time because I wouldn't trust you to give me the right time of day. So that's basic here, and he really was effective, and he's helped hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people.
Millions, definitely.
I would
millions.
say he's helped millions of people. What a legacy!
look,
But what
look
I
at this
don't
charming
want, what I
warm
don't,
man. This is the one we're talking about, in case anybody recognises the name.
yes, no, people know. I just don't. And of course, the media will go, "Oh, we've got to get the next Michael Mosley," and I just
There won't be
hope.
another one.
Do you know
Why
that
him?
did cross my
Emily,
mind.
you know, I'm a cynic, because a cynic is what a realist calls a romantic. I am cynical about this, and the media we've got to get another guy, because
No, I'm saying that.
that they will. And I just hope it's somebody who has the integrity.
I hope
the
someone
intelligence.
continues his work. I mean, I wonder
Yes,
if in some capacity his lovely wife will, or
Who
one of
knows?
his children. I don't know. Maybe Claire will
knows?
when she's, in the right headspace. I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. But it's an incredible legacy, and I would like to see that work continued. I really, really,
The only
really
other
would.
person I think who has, well, no, David Attenborough, obviously. Goes without saying, but also I would say Professor Brian Cox. I know a lot of people are very sniffy. I think they're very sniffy about him, but he takes immensely complicated notions of physics, astronomy, and science, and he breaks it down into digestible pieces. And you can get sniffy about it, and you can say, "Oh, well, he's just dumbing down." I don't think he is dumbing down. He's giving complicated information in a way that's understandable, and that's a gift.
Yeah, that's not dumbing down.
Makes it accessible.
It makes things accessible.
Yeah, it makes things accessible. And why should we, who have not been trained, not have access? Doesn't mean that makes us experts, but why shouldn't we be told and to learn about things that we never learned in our formal education, which are, the universe? Doesn't get much bigger than that. Why should we be banned from that because we haven't studied astrophysics or something like that, and somebody can come along? That doesn't make us experts, but it makes us a bit better informed. And if you're a more intelligent person, then you're more used to the world. And
I'll tell you another good one who's got that gift. John Gray, who wrote Men from Mars, Women from Venus. He's done a lot of work in natural health. He's very good. He can do that. He can break it down and put it into...
Graham, I am not putting that comment up. That's shocking.
Actually, Professor Brian Cox wrote a lovely tribute to Michael Mosley, which I thoroughly encourage you to look at, as from one fellow scientist to another, which I thought was just beautiful.
I think what is interesting is all his contemporaries and those who have worked with him have been very fulsome, very, very fulsome in their praise. And it obviously was coming from the heart, and not just because they just want to, hey, look at me, I'm gonna do a tribute because I want to get my name up. A lot of that happens as well. But I think they're genuinely shocked. They're genuine. As
Can I give you another thing to do?
So sudden, isn't
We're in shock. He says this is really good, actually.
This is a good one.
This is beautiful and very important. Just one thing: green spaces. He was such an advocate of getting out into nature. And I think for all of us, maybe take a leaf, no pun intended, out of
That's good. Take a leaf. Very good. Very good.
Genuinely, no pun intended, but there you go. And I think also it's his sense of humor. He was able to take the rise out of himself doing things and other people in a really lovely way and make it fun and accessible and silly. And things that were unbelievably embarrassing became non-embarrassing.
And I remember when he was helping a couple lose weight, and he actually went around their house and went through their cupboards. And then he said, right, here's my recommendations. And it was his most delightful way they did it.
Yeah.
And then a week later, they go shopping, and they're filming the couple go shopping. And guess who's on the checkout, dressed in the supermarket uniform?
No, I love that.
Yeah, Michael Mosley. And he says, right, let's see what you've got. And I just found the man delightful, just delightful in so many ways. Oh, shut up, Fat Scotty, you're not funny.
He's
that's
quite
the
funny.
very program I was saying to you about. That
He's quite funny, actually. He makes me.
Yeah, I suppose that was quite funny. I can see Graham's comment. No, I'm not putting that up there.
No, we're not doing that.
You can if you want to, Russ.
No, thank you. I've already said no.
Okay.
I think as this comment we can say it's a true skill to simplify complicated information, and it's all about the way with which you communicate.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah, very much so. Which was something actually I noticed with Dr. Asa when we had him as a guest a couple of weeks ago. He was a wonderful guest. So
we'd like him back.
Got that too, sir.
He's a mighty brain box. One of the things that this, I want to kind of make it slightly expanded, is that we're all here for such a short time. You don't know what's around the corner. I think of Simon Booker. I think of Dave Davis. I think of Rosemary. I think of Michael Mosley. And you realize that you can't take anything for granted. You know, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Do you know what I think the gift of people that transition is? If they have a gift, it's saying live now. Don't wait till the kids are grown up or until you're a millionaire to be happy. Be happy now. Ask yourself what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy now. And now, and also, we even have science behind that, proving that happiness leads to success rather than the other way round. So the whole world's got it.
It totally does. You know, you've said that, and that really resonated with me, and it was nothing that I'd thought of. But you're right. Because if there's a phrase we made up, could you stop doing that? Look, you're driving Emily nuts with that.
It's stress, you see. This is what happens when he's stressed.
Well, if you were sitting on my lap, I'd be a bit stressed as well. You know, frankly, what the hell?
I've got to go and plug the battery. I've got to go and plug the computer in. Excuse me.
Oh, what?
Okay.
What?
I'm going to.
Is that a euphemism? Is that a euphemism? Please tell me that's not a euphemism.
No.
For God's sake. He actually is plugging.
And I tell you to come back to us about this green space. It's really important. I think, Russ, you go for a walk every day. And
I walk every day. Of course I do. Yes, every day.
There's some very interesting stuff here. I'm not going to get too scientific on you.
Ooh.
But it's all... Oh, hello. It's flattening me now. Thanks. Right. Anyway, he says how to do it. Aim to spend a few hours each week in a green space, enjoying the sights, sounds, and smells. Now, that sounds like a lot of hours, but think about it. Commuting to work, you can look for trees and flowers and whatever else. You're going to be doing those hours whether you like it or not.
Yeah, of course.
So try and hone in on the whatever you can see that's green. But he says the reason why there are plenty of studies. We all know there are loads of studies showing that being in green spaces can just help reduce your stress and anxiety.
Yep.
And apparently it calms what needs calming and strengthens what needs strengthening. Again, we have another prof that he's interviewed to tell us about this, Professor Kuo. Apologies if I've got his name
Mr. Status Quo.
Ming Kuo, who is the director of the University of Illinois Landscape and Human Health Laboratory. So he knows his stuff. But apparently, yes, this is interesting because he relates it back to COVID. Nature calms our system of inflammatory cytokines, which are the alarm bells for the body. When they get overexcited, the body will mount a defense called a cytokine storm, which can be deadly, particularly if you get a disease like COVID. So your body goes into overdrive. Not good, not good.
Sympathetic.
However, if you spend time in nature, you can increase the number of natural killer cells by up to 50% and reduce inflammatory cytokines by the same amount. That's massive, massive.
And it's just simple things.
And he then explains what all of that was about for, us who are not medical professionals. In other words, spending time in green spaces not only keeps our immune system tuned up and strong, but it also ensures that it doesn't overreact.
So let's just hold up the book again. This is Michael Mosley. I think this was his latest book.
This is the last bit he says here. My last little bit from him from it is,
yeah,
it is great to just stop, look around, breathe in the smell of the trees and appreciate the pattern of light passing through the leaves.
I love that. Yes.
Your environment
light.
In this way, shifts your focus outwards, makes you more engaged in the world around you and less in your own thoughts.
Brilliant.
Wise words.
Just one thing, Michael Mosley, but I would recommend all of his work, literally all of his work, even if it doesn't apply to you, it's just really interesting. But I recommend endorse all of his work. Can I just plug Wednesday's show very quickly?
I'd be honoured and privileged. There's no need to be quick.
Okay, Fat Scotty says, I've barely laughed in the studio for the first time in what seemed like an age. Thank you. We're discussing comedy on Wednesday. Going to have him back on the show. A wonderful man that I met on the comedy circuit called Jay Saunders, who's part of an army charity drive to help veterans who have PTSD heal through comedy. And I've met him twice now, and I've watched his comedy grow, and I've sort of watched his progress, and he's doing great things in the world. He's a lovely guy, really lovely man. I'm looking forward to chatting with him again on the Midday Show on Wednesday. Jay Saunders, looking forward to that.
Excellent.
Can I say
I
just last bit of Michael Waisley?
What are you going to be plugging? Scarves? You
No. Michael
Hairdos?
Waisley, just honestly, we've said about his book, but all of his podcasts are there for free on BBC Sounds. Not a penny needs to be spent. They are there for you to love and enjoy. So tune in and have a listen.
You're getting a bit friendly there with the hand and everything.
Well, I am trying to.
What's going on? Are you
sharing? Them is what I'm trying to do.
Listen, are
she
you
wants
sharing
me.
one
Most girls
seat?
do.
Are you sharing one chair?
No, we're sharing,
sharing a sofa.
A large.
What are you sitting on?
A sofa. What do you imagine I'm sitting on?
I don't. I'm guessing what she's sitting on. I'm asking what you're sitting on.
A sofa, same as her.
Oh, okay.
We have two soft cushions next to each other. What can I say? That looked really wrong.
There you go, Fat Scotty. There's one for you. And we all need to grow up.
But do you know what? You've touched on something. I know you probably need to go, but I want to say this, or stay or go, whatever you want to do. But we were talking about Michael Mosley, and you said something that I really, really believe. And somebody says to me, "You know what, Russell? You're really childish." I take it as an enormous compliment. I take it as a compliment because I think once you just lose that sense of wonder and you lose that sense of wow, look at that, and you lose that sense of childish curiosity, you're dying inside.
And I
really think you're
Michael
dying
Mosley would have
inside.
brought anything as good to the world had he not had that adult mind with the childlike sense of curiosity.
It's like,
because that is a mindset that we should all aspire to be in. It's a wonderful mindset.
It
It brings the best of you and the best of your work to the world. And without that, I don't think we'd be talking about Michael Mosley. In fact, we probably wouldn't even know him. He wouldn't have become famous because his work would have been.
And being childish, some people get embarrassed about it. Being childish doesn't mean being really stupid and dumb. It means looking at
separate childlike, childish. Childlike is what you're talking about, with a sense of awe and wonder, and newness. Which makes for healthy dopamine levels, by the way.
So his big sparkly eyes going, wow, what can I go and learn about now? What is it?
But that's it. It's like, because otherwise you, and it's fun because otherwise you think as an adult, well, that's it. I'm never going to learn anything else. I'm never going to improve. This is my lot. I'm done.
Exactly.
And I think that is like one of the most depressing, stupid thoughts. And
we don't stop playing because we get old. We get old because we stop playing.
I love that. And I try a lot of things, and some of the things work out, and some of the things are an absolute disaster. But I'd rather have tried it, and come away thinking, well, that was shit, but I gave it a go, than not do it and be really dull and everything else. So
you can only learn about yourself by learning about the world around you.
Exactly.
And if you like things and don't like things, go and explore it. That's what he wanted us to do. Go learn, go be silly, have fun, laugh. I mean, I'm going to say, I can't believe that we've ended up having such laughter when we've had such a sad story to talk about, but that's what he brings out in everybody, that he has this fun.
I'm going to end it with this thought. I'll end it with this thought, so I should let you go. I'm sure you've got a heavy schedule. But as a celebrant, I don't make it. It has to reflect the guest of honor, as I was taught, the deceased, right? And the ceremony at the funeral, don't forget I also do weddings and baby naming, but I'm talking about just about funerals for a minute, has got to reflect that person. And if the person was a funny, fun-loving person, doesn't mean it's going to be like a Michael McIntyre show, but it means there will be an energy and a warmth and a sense of humor and love that will run through the service. It should reflect that person. So I'm not embarrassed.
The root of that word is celebrate.
You're celebrating their life in a way that actually reflects them, not some anonymous service. Sing a couple of hymns, cheerio. It's meaningless. I don't want to be rude, but in my heart, it's meaningless, right? So I'm not embarrassed that we've done over an hour.
I've seen a lot more warmth, and I know you're right, Russ. I've seen a lot more warmth and love in secular humanist gatherings with celebrants than I have in religious ones, which is just dry, empty ritual to me, and it just makes no sense.
Well, there you go. That's so. My payoff is I'm not embarrassed that we've had laugh and fun, because I'd never met Michael Mosley, but I would bet that he would rather have that and everyone sitting around po-faced and doing a sort of typical.
Dr. Mosley, we dedicate this show to you, and we send love.
Yes, we do.
Thank you so much for everything.
Neil will be back on Wednesday with his special
with Jay
friend,
Saunders, talking about comedy.
With Jay Saunders. Whether Spinham Dex will be with him, I don't know. She has a life of her own, to which I am not privy. Anyway, bye everybody. Thanks for joining us. Record numbers again all over the world.
Pleasure.
Take care. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.